So, good afternoon. I'm quite happy to see so many people. Second day of the conference afternoon, and you are still here. Wow, that's cool. So, today I'll be talking about the tribes, about the people and their culture and how it works in the company. So, hopefully, after this talk, you would understand a small bit. Is it working or not? Okay, good. A small bit more of how the culture works, and you would be a bit closer to improving it. So that's my kind of a goal. But first, give me some first association. One word. What's your company like? In your company, what is it like? Good. Awesome. Wow. Well, okay. All the happy faces. So maybe you would find it really awkward talking about the not good environment at the beginning. But I promised you that the last stage is the awesome company. And we will get to it. But first, there are 5 stages of a company culture, 5 stages of a tribes. And there is a saying which says that bird flocks, fish schools, and people thrive. No one of you wants to be really alone. I'm an introvert, but still, I don't want to be completely alone. I'm still searching for friends, searching for someone to have a coffee with or discuss something. And I think you do the same in our companies. We are looking for the people's opinion, what they think about you, what they think about those things, and so on and so on. So, how the trip really looks like. That's, yeah, I'm a bad drawer, but I just decided my drawings are good enough to be on the presentation. So, tribe is a group of people, 20 to 150, roughly, something in between. And when you met somebody from the tribe, you just say, hello. That's it. No science, it's not difficult, such easy. And now, because it's the afternoon, you need some exercise into your brain, so we would wake up and realize you're at some talk. So can you please all stand up? And now, imagine you're at work, you're sitting in your office or walking around the cafeteria area and meeting your colleagues. And maybe you just met your boss on a hall. You might say hello or not. It's up to you. And for those of you which is not pleasant imagination, you can please sit down if you don't like it in your job. No one! Wow! That's really people who are happy in their job. Okay, how about you, which are okay with that imagination? The job is fine. But I would still prefer to be somewhere else. Home, maybe. And now you are lying. You would prefer to be at work instead of home? Really? Ah, that's the honest people. Okay, good. And for the rest of you, it's your dream job? Okay, good. It's my dream job, so you can sit down. Wow, that was a surprising experiment. Good, so, first tribe. Actually, I've got some presents for you. But the first tribe, stage 1, would be very distant to you. If they would have a t-shirt, it would say, life sucks. So, think about it, who wants to have it, because I have 5 of those t-shirts, of course. You? Okay. You're welcome. So life sucks. It's a tribe which is dominant in 2% of worldwide companies. And I would have to admit that it's not really quite often to be seen in IT companies. You can see it in the prisons or street gangs. Some of those kind of a strange institution, how it looks like. Well, those people are quite alone. They're sitting somewhere or standing somewhere in the corner. not really smiling, saying like, life sucks. And you just don't get it with your smiling faces. You just don't get it. Life sucks, you know? I don't know why he's smiling. Life just sucks. So, that's about it. They have no friends. They don't see any light at the end of the tunnel either. You know, life sucks, of course. So, the only way on from the other side, just move to the different world, to change the place. Well, if you want to help them, those guys, can you please stand up? Oh, those guys, you know, if you want to help them, then you would just encourage them to find friends, to see that there is some light somewhere. Maybe go for lunch with someone, or see that there is a different life. So maybe in the future it will change. So let's move on, because that's not really often tribe. You may see it somewhere, but hopefully not for you. Sorry for that, but you know, we can go for lunch after that. The second stage. Again, if those people would wear a t-shirt, it would say, "My life sucks." Anybody looking for a t-shirt? Yes? I need a volunteer. Ah, okay. So, my life sucks. It's a culture of cynicism, disengagement. It's about all the problems you have. Those people are still alone. And they see that there are some happy people. That one was smiling lightly, and that person was smiling as well. And they seem to be happy at their jobs. Which is strange, isn't it? Because my job sucks. And my life sucks actually, because I have to drive 200 kilometers every day to and from my job. And my life sucks because I have 200 unread emails in my mailbox. And my life sucks because I have an idiot boss, sorry. And my life sucks because I have to do Scrum. Or maybe my life sucks because I have to do stand-ups. And they are pushing me to tell every day what I finished and what I'm going to finish. Isn't that horrible life? You would not like to live in that company. So the people are kind of finding excuses. It's about me, and it's about finding the problems and trying to understand that that's not gonna work. My life sucks. Typically, I give you the example. I don't have example for the first tribe, sorry for that. I've never been working or living in that tribe. But I'm quite often over there in that tribe. So how it looks? Well, typical waterfall organization who's been pushed to Agile or Scrum, and the people are all the time complaining why it's not possible in our environment. So I don't really share the names, but it was a cell phone operator, so mobile operator company, huge company, wonderful. They got very nice salaries, very nice offices, quite nice bosses, by the way. But all of them been just sitting there and saying like, we don't like this and we don't like that, and give me a task, but it must be clear, and I will just make it and we're there, and I don't care about anything. They haven't been really happy. I've been wondering why, and I didn't know what to do. Well, with that attitude, of course, I knew that my task is to teach them Scrum, but it was quite hard actually, because you need some energy from the people. So that's about my life sucks. And we are getting slowly better. Because for those people, if you increase their self-confidence, because that's exactly what you do if you want to move them up, they would start saying, I'm great! And I'm the best person ever, I'm the smartest person. I'm the speaker here at this conference, so I must be great. And you are not, by the way, because you are not the speakers right now, at least. So, next t-shirt. I am great, and you are not. I am a volunteer, guys. Ah, you've been the first one. So, that's kind of attitude. It's about me. It's about personal accomplishment. I'm good, and I'm better than most of you. And it's a necessary step, actually, from, my life sucks, because then you're depressed, sitting in a corner, and now you're great. It's wonderful. It's just so nice to be there. Just, there's one thing which always bothering me, being great, that how come, if you just try a little bit more, you could be such good person as I am. You could be speakers as well. You could be the programmers as well. You could be the architects. You could be the managers. You could be even the CEOs, if you just try a little bit more. So that's the attitude of that stage. And another thing is, just imagine the company who just starting the Agile Scrum kind of transformation. What you usually hear? Well, what I hear in those companies is like, I'm a great programmer or architect or senior person and I understand that piece of code, but those other guys, they would need years to learn it. It's again the same attitude. I am great, but you are not. And these testers, I'm a great developer, but they could never be good as I am because they can't really write the code. And now, one kind of insight thing about this model. So you cannot move those people who say life sucks directly to the I am great model or I am great tribe or anywhere else. We have to go step by step, one by one. There is no way how we can skip those stages. And this stage is particularly quite common. I believe it was in, 49% of the organizations. And mostly the bosses and the managers of the people who say my life sucks are from the tribe 3 saying like, I'm a great manager, and you're not. Because if you would be good as I am, you would be the managers as well. And but on the other side, not to put it so bad, those people at stage 3 are great mentors. They would help you to grow. They would drive you up, but just to certain limits. I would make sure that you will never achieve my level. I would guard it, because I would be afraid of losing my unique position. And now, during this transformation and so on, it comes to the stress. So once I've been in a company where we've been starting a bigger product group, splitting the completely new people into the Scrum teams. They've already got some experience with Scrum adoption and self-organization and Scrum Master and so on. And because every change brings a stress, it kind of drives those developers and testers into the tribe too. So they start complaining, it's too difficult and we can't make it, and only those people knew it and those not, and so on and so on. So I was like thinking, what can we possibly do? How can we possibly drive them up again? So it really helped to get some fast wins, some successes, and really show them, okay, well, you can make it because you are good enough. You are wonderful, experienced people. You will finally make it. And in a very short time, they've been in the mode, I'm great. And from that stage, we've been ready to the next one. The tribe, which is saying, we are great. So it's not anymore about myself. Of course, I'm kind of good, yeah, but you're maybe even better. And we together create a wonderful conference, because without us, it could never work. Especially the mindset of the open spaces. There was no one leading really the conversation. And for most of you, it may have been the most important or most opening eyes thing. running the open space. So you can do it. You are as good speakers as everyone else here, maybe even better. 22% of worldwide companies have this tribe. We are great. It's about a team. Yeah, it's the right one. Okay, volunteers. And now I've been kind of knowing that somebody from here wants it, so let's do it this way. Okay. So, we are great. And I believe that the self-organization of a Scrum, which trying to enforce different culture, is pretty much trying to build from the traditional me as an expert, we as a team. And there are two concepts which are quite useful, which I was thinking would be good to share with you. They're also coming from a book, so this time I'm promoting a book. So that person is called, his name is David Market. And he's been a commander of a nuclear submarine in the army, US Army. So you may want to say that the army is kind of command and control environment, right? I thought so as well. But that guy kind of decided to change it and decided to put empowerment to all the other people operating at the submarine. And I tell you a bit of his story, make it really short. So he's been going through some training to become a captain of that submarine. And during the training, he's been preparing for his first mission at that highest position, reading all the manuals, how the submarine works, to understand everything, and be able to really drive it himself. Because if any one of you would ask me, I would know the answer. And then about 2 months before that mission, they said, oh, by the way, you know, there is a change. So you're not going to that submarine. It was a modern one, a very nice one, with a good crew, and so on. And on the other hand, we need you for that old one with the worst crew ever. So they've been doing some checks, some assessments, and so on. And that submarine was, in the 3rd time in a row, the last one. And he started to be really frightened inside, feeling like, no, I've been preparing for 1 year for that new submarine, and I don't know anything about that old one. It's difficult. You have to have about half a year at least to read through those manuals to understand it. How could I possibly do that? So he tried to do his best, and then he came, to some inspection, and there was some kind of a problematic situation. So he just gave an order and said, turn this function on. I don't remember the name of that function, sorry for that. I'm not the expert of the submarine, but it doesn't really matter. Turn it on. But then the person standing next to him said, turn it on. Turn it on. And then there was somebody sitting next to that machine and do nothing. He didn't even move. And he was like staying here and watching all those situations and say, what's happened? And say, well, what happened? What happened? What happened? Well, there is no function A. It's not there. And so he said, well, did you know that? He said, well, yes. Why didn't you tell me? I was like, I thought you might be more experienced than I am, so maybe I thought I'm wrong. So I just followed the orders. And he introduced the model of saying that there are 2 different leadership types. Leader-follower, which is exactly that example, and leader-leader. So what we try to achieve via the Tribe 4, we are great, is pretty much introduce the leader model. You are not here just to follow my orders because I am a manager. You are here to take the accountability and activity and think about how shall we solve that situation. And he's describing in this book that it was extremely difficult and that he failed in his previous jobs as well with that idea, but finally on this submarine he made it. And he's been able to empower his crew in a way. So they win all those kind of competitions they've been and trial missions they've been doing, and they've got the highest rate of people who've been promoted to some higher position. So they've been the most successful submarine in a year. And of course, it's difficult, it's not easy to do that, but I encourage you to see that book and think about applying that leader model in your environment. Because that's exactly what you need. But the people at the beginning of the agile transformation did quite often say, well, just give me a task. I don't want to really, take over any responsibility because you're the product owner, you are here for me. You are here to tell me what I should do. You are a scrum master, you should tell me if I should do it this way or that way. And then slowly by slowly trying to improve and getting better. And there is another book which is going from a completely different perspective. It's pretty much saying how the good team should look like. It's called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And it says that once you have a team, you should make sure that there are no dysfunctions, and you have to go again step by step. First, check if they trust each other. If they don't, you can never get any commitment, any attention to the result. You could never build leader model. And you could never get tribal leadership stage 4. We are great. So first of this function is absence of trust. They have to trust each other. It's kind of a fluffy thing. Whenever I explain it, I have quite a big problem because everybody says, oh, we do trust each other. But they don't really. They are quiet. They don't speak up. They don't want to invite their manager to the retrospective because they don't trust him. But they would not admit it. The second stage is fear of conflict. Again, quiet team who is afraid to have a fight around the solution. Because I believe it should be done this way. And I believe, as a different person, it should be done that way. So I would not better say it because she would not understand, she would not agree with me. And we may fight, and I don't feel comfortable about fighting. So that's the second stage. Once you overcome it and you are able to have a fight without really harming the relationship, so you can still talk to each other and kind of understand each other and feel good about each other, then there is a lack of commitment. And the Scrum is about the commitment, my individual commitment during the stand-up, our team commitment during the sprint planning, and so on and so on. And the overall commitment to our customers that we will deliver that piece of functionality in a product in some certain amount of reasonable time, whatever that means. So again, we need that. And without the trust and ability to kind of argue with each other, that's not possible. Then the next stage is accountability. So think about your colleagues and your teams. Think about maybe sometimes half a year ago, 2 years ago, when you started with the creation of a real team, when you still being individuals, maybe that was exactly what was missing. Well, he told us to do that. The product owner was making a decision. It's not our fault. It's not working, He wrote a poor user stories, maybe, or whatever else. And finally, it's inattention to the result. So every good team, to say it otherwise, must have one goal. For the Scrum team, it can't be write a code, write a test, find a bug, fix it, nothing like that. The overall goal of such a team should be deliver something which brings value to our customer, make him happy, whatever like that. It's about the business value, it's about making the people happy, it's about those things. We all together must have the same goal. If we don't, we are more group of individuals searching for our own things. It's not we, it's me. And that's what you don't want to do. So That's two tools which are good for stage 4 tribe. We are great. And then there is the last one. And the last one, 2% of the overall world companies are saying life is great. And you must be a bit... Sorry, can you please give it to... thank you. So, you must be a bit whimsy or awkward or just strange to be in that stage. But it's a kind of a strange where you don't have anymore any competitors. So the companies are not operating just to make themselves famous and be number one on the market, be the best speaker ever, or whatever else. It's just about, we would like to make the other people happy. Or we would like to create something which no other companies did and to improve the overall environment. Sometimes you may say it's non-profit organizations, maybe. But not only. I've been discussing with one of you yesterday, and that discussion kind of helped me to realize that I really knew one company like that. I thought I didn't, but then I realized, yes. Their name is Etneteraz. It's a Czech company. I knew the founders. And the founders have been kind of awkward to me from the time I knew them. In a sense, they built a great company, successful, they've got some money, it was quite visible, and hiring more and more people. But then they said, well, we read some book, and still I don't know which kind of book it was. I have to ask, I have it in my kind of to-do list. But they said, we read some book, and we decided we can't run the company by ourselves. We have to hire the director, because we are more thinking about the overall strategy and so on and so on. And we would like to run it in a different way. And I didn't have a clue what they've been talking about at that time, so I can't even remember the exact wording as they said. But after a few years after, I thought that this company is kind of the biggest web studio in the Czech Republic, and they do it differently. They call themselves now a free company. Whatever that means. Again, I've been at the beginning a bit reluctant because, they still have some kind of a director structure, they still have somebody responsible. But on the other hand, they really empowered all the people to take over the responsibility and make some decisions. So it's not hierarchical anymore. In this way, and their kind of a mission now, I believe, is not really to beat the competitors or do that wonderful product, but to find out how to run a portfolio of some independent network companies in a completely different way, to show the other companies that there is some possibility how to say, life is great. If you look at my friends who are working there, and I've been thinking about it for some time, sometimes they work even hard and overtime. But on the other hand, I've never heard them complaining. I never hear them saying, that's difficult and we have bad customers and we have, bad employees. I heard them saying, we've been thinking that once we are a team now, we may buy some aquarium and some fishes into it. So we would have somebody else as a part of our team. And it's a bit awkward. I don't really ask you to understand that. I'm just trying to explain that those strange tribes exist, to my personal opinion. So think about maybe what tribe you are. And I see I have like 1 minute to finish it, so I go a bit faster. To summarize it, I believe that this tribe, life sucks, is not really common, and most likely you will never observe it, which is good. My life sucks is kind of a common things in the waterfall, like environments, or under some stress, when there is some organizational change or something like that. The people tend to go here, so you have to help them up through this stage. This stage is quite common, it's individual based, and it's necessary. You have to increase your self-confidence in order to be ready to step aside and say, well, it doesn't really matter if I'm great, because you are even better. And then finally, with the Scrum and the self-organization especially, you can, of course, get the self-organization from any other method. But I like Scrum with that one. So you are focusing on a team. You're really building it. And then there is something which is sometimes referred as Agile at the organizational level. And that's the last stage. Thank you very much, and I hope you will end up in a stage 4.